Hey guys, Scheme here, and today I will be doing a video review on the AIP fiber optic front and rear sight. So when you get the AIP fiber optic front and rear sight, you get the sights themselves. They're black. They haven't come out with any other color now. You also get red and green fiber optics. The only one you can put in the front is a green one, and the rear can either be red or green. And you also get this little screw to screw it on top. The design of this reminds me a lot of the TSC rear sight and also their loading cocking handle. I bought one of their cocking handles in the past. I since then have sold it off. But what it is basically is it clamps onto the slide through these notches, and then it's not held down by the notches themselves, but through the screw and the BBU. So this is what really is where it's being held on, and it's not a bad design. It holds up well. Stock slides, this does fit perfectly on it. I'll show you right here. There's really no problem putting it in, and it goes on good. It wobbles right now because I don't have the screw on, but I mean it's pretty much just a very quick drop-in fit for stock slides. I have tried it on Prog 4 slides. I couldn't get it to work without doing any modifications, so that's another thing. But I mean, I hear some people have been getting them to work on some Prog 4 slides. I don't know if they've modified it or not, but yeah, there's that. So taking some data from Knuckles, who's one of my good friends in Airsoft, he weighed the rear sight and the front sight as well as the stock rear sight. The stock rear sight weighs 20.7 grams, and this one only weighs 4.3. And you could tell it's a lot lighter than the rear sight. I mean, you can see it's very thin compared to the rear sight. Very, very, very thin compared to the stock one. I mean, and this is, I believe this is probably made from 70-75 aluminum like most of their stuff. I mean, this thing feels light. It almost feels plastic, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, I actually like that it's light. When I first held this, I was like, man, this is pretty crazy. So there's that. So right now, I have this rear sight installed for my winter build. It would really be good for any builds that need to be winter or race builds, just because there are some people that build race builds upon stock slides, and they pretty much try to lighten everything up with light BBUs and all that, short strokes, and the whole goal is to get a light slide, so for quick shooting. But this one was actually for my race build. It uses less gas, when you're using a lighter rear sight. So in the end, you're saving up a lot of gas that's propelling the BB and all that. So right here I have it installed with the blowback unit and the blowback screw already installed. So I'm going to show you what you got to do. So first thing I would really recommend doing is putting some blue Loctite on the little screw that goes on top. The reason why I do this is because when I first got this, I didn't put any Loctite on it, and I did notice that it was moving a bit. And then eventually it popped off and I lost it, but I found it, so I'm kind of happy about finding it. So just put a little bit of blue Loctite, just so it seals, and you could take it off. So I have some cheap Loctite right here, but it works. So basically once you got that, just put it up top right there, and then you're just gonna screw it on. Yeah, it's very straightforward installation, but I always thought I'd show you guys. Alright, so as far as the front sight, again, there is only the green one, but it's very easy to fit. I mean, you can put these on like nothing, and they stay well. I've used this on the field. It's weird. It's like a tight fit, but it's almost snug. It's not too tight. It's not too loose. It's just perfect. So there you go. So comparing these two rear sights to the Prog 4 one, you'll see that the Prog 4 one really sticks out. I know it's not a fair comparison because I do have the Prog 4 red fiber optics, but regardless, the Prog 4, from what I've seen, is really bright. I did like the front green rear sight to this one. I'm not quite sure why. I feel like it it really sticks out more. So I put it on this Prog 4 one. It does wobble a little bit because these, I believe, are 1.5 millimeters, and the Prog 4 one is, I think, a 1.67. Yeah, it is a 1.67. I got that from Prog 4 themselves. He told me the dimensions. So you'll see it does wobble a little bit. So but other than that, it's really great. So yeah, if you want, we can compare the red ones. These are more, they look pinkish more than anything, but I mean, they're rare. They're red. So you'll see, the Prog 4 ones rear sights are a little thicker as far as the rods. So the bigger the rods, the more light you'll end up getting, which is a good thing. So either way, this one is pretty good. One quick thing that I would also recommend doing is when you first put on these sights, they're really weird to put on because they're not held in by the usual flame where you put them in and then you flame it up. What you got to do is when you get these rods, first you're gonna have to grab some super glue and the rods themselves. So let's say the super glue was in this right here and you were putting in the rod. You have to dip the rod into the super glue, stick it into the hole that it's in, make sure it's good, nice and snug, snip the back, and then heat it up with a lighter. And then it'll bulb up, and then you'll get a lot of good, light coming for that. So do it for both. Same thing in the front, but what I actually end up doing, because I kind of ran out of, I kept messing up on the front sight, I bulbed it up at the end, and I stuck it in, so it's really held by friction, and then I put a little bit of super glue also as well. That's kind of not a good thing to do because the fiber optic does crack in front. But either way, I did it and it worked out well. But you can tell, I'm not sure if the camera catches it, there is a little crack right there. But another reason I did that was because sometimes I feel that the front sights, the fiber optics, are too big, and when they're too big, it's kind of hard to focus on the target itself. It's kind of like very big to focus on it. So I wanted something smaller, and the way to get that is to use to put less fiber optic, I guess, using less of it. Right here, you'll see there's still some room that could be used. So it helps. It's real good to differentiate the different sites and all that. So yeah. So again, I would probably use it for people again who just want something different, or they want fiber optic sites and they're using a stock slide. You're gonna have to modify it for the Prog 4 ones. This part right here did not want to go in. But again, people have been saying they've been getting it work, so it could have just been me. Also, for people building winter builds like this one itself, this is my winter slide right here, and it just uses less weight and it's snappier. It's all around better for gas consumption and efficiency. So yeah, I'll recommend it to those people or just anyone who wants a fiber optic front sights. I would give this product a solid 5 out of 5. Just because they were drop and fit, they're good, they're light, and they work just as good as any fiber optic. Again, only thing is, yeah, they don't work for the Prog 4 slides, but it's not meant, I guess, for those slides. It's really meant for stock ones, and you can always modify it. I mean, that's what teching and custom building is all about. Modifying your stuff. So yeah, I'll give this a solid 5 out of 5, and yeah. There's the AIP fiber optic sites.